You gotta love a movie whose the final battle, the subtitles read "Awk awk, wah wah, walk walk, and twoodle twoodle onk onk."
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Seen anything that was really so just enormous in scale, you know. Seeing the sort of a mechanical duck waddle around an empty warehouse.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and my ongoing quest to review every single movie Robin Williams has ever done. This week, I'm talking about the 1992 absolute just box office bomb, Toys, directed by Barry Levinson of Good Morning Vietnam. To talk about this batshit movie, I have one of my most batshit friends with me.
Who else?
Good friend, podcast co-host, Charlie Allen. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
This movie stars Robin Williams as Leslie Zebo, the childlike son of a toy company owner who's trying to save his toy factory from his uncle who's making war toys. Also starring fucking Dumbledore Michael Gambon.
Really?
Yeah, yes.
The original?
No, the second one.
Oh, the one people hate?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of old white dudes in this.
You also have Joan Cusack, you've got LL Cool J, Robin Wright, and Jamie Foxx in his film debut.
Yeah. Robin Wright less so, but I think that the other three are great in this movie.
LL Cool J turns it out.
LL Cool J is really good. Joan Cusack is weird. There's a bunch of, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of weird shit with Joan Cusack's character, but she's so hot. She's just too hot. Should we talk about what it's about?
What the fuck is it about? When I read the description, I thought War Toys was he was just gonna be making guns and bombs right off the bat.
He's really just making video games.
He's basically making video games,
He's
and then
drones.
also
he's pitching drone strikes.
Like a fucking sea monster.
A sea swine.
Sea swine. What the fuck?
A sea swine.
What is this fucking
Who knows?
movie? It took Barry Levinson 10 years to develop this film. This was supposed to be his directorial debut. This was his passion project before Good Morning Vietnam was even a thought.
And you know what's funny is there's stuff in it where I can see how a lot of thought, there's a metaphor sort of buried in there about created, you're trying to make something creative, right?
Yes.
And there's the business aspect of that versus the actual creatives there, and how the business sort of comes in and monopolizes and takes over. And
you have to make believe, not war.
It seems like he worked on it for 10 years and then forgot about it.
Yeah, he has since described it as a black comedy that was bright and colorful.
Yeah.
And he said that it was completely misunderstood at the time. But how could you not misunderstand it when the all the people went into this knowing
it's pretty fucking obtuse.
Well, the only trailer that I think people saw was that one where blonde Robin Williams is just standing in a field shouting about nothing for a minute.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe his idea was if people come in with as little preconceptions as possible, they'll be more. But then the first scene is a Christmas song, and it's not a Christmas movie.
And does that even? I'm so confused by that Christmas ballet because it doesn't ever tie back into anything. The toys that are there at the end are all the ones that blew up in the battle. So I was are these kids dead?
They rebuilt them. Oh, that's Toy Heaven?
Toy Heaven, yeah. Robin did so much promo for this and was more involved with this than he was with Aladdin.
Yeah.
But people largely, for a long time, people said that this was one of, if not the worst movie that he ever did.
I don't think
so either.
I like it, honestly.
I don't think that it's bad. I just think that it's so odd, and there's so many choices that are just so head scratching. But there's some jokes in this that have me laughing out loud.
Yes, definitely.
The fake vomit bit is
that whole scene is great.
That is great.
And there are scenes in it that I'm oh shit! If I just saw that scene on its own, devoid of context.
Yeah.
I think the Washington Boys scene where they're out in a field but they build a room.
Yeah, where they're beefing in their underwear.
Exactly. Yeah, and they're showing them through X-rays, so they're constantly he's a skeleton who's just monologuing about how death is currency and shit. You know what I mean? I was oh, okay. There's almost something here. I can see how that scene
and then
took 10 years.
Them driving to the funeral in the bumper car and
yes, I thought that was funny.
There were so many things that I was this is fucking funny.
Any of the stuff where there's a joke box, a fart machine, or the laugh box going off in the coffin, I thought was pretty funny.
A lot of the stuff that I read was from people who watched this as kids and thought that it was funny as kids, but did not think it was funny as adults. But it's not a kid's movie because it's PG-13 and like
Yeah.
they obviously have sex at one point.
Yeah. She like takes off her bra.
Yeah.
I think that they are a
Oh
hot
my god,
couple.
how dare she?
I know, yes. She should go to jail. Every woman should be assigned a bra at birth. And she sticks with it. They are hot together. I think this is Robin looking basically at his best. He's like, I like his...
Robin and Robin.
Exactly,
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think that the romance really added much of anything.
They have bad chemistry. Seems like he was like... he like went through something as a child and is like stuck in adolescence a little
yes.
bit.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then she is so like, why, I just don't know what's going on all the time.
Like all she does is like blush and giggle at what he says.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all she does the whole time.
She keeps on suggesting things to be like, oh hey, like this would be the logical answer. But then they do the other illogical plan and it works out and they win because it's like, it's Dr. Seuss world. So
Yeah.
like...
I was so confused by the world of this because I thought that they were like in this just weird kooky factory like making weird toys with this weird woman who dresses like a paper doll all the time and eats only white bread.
No, she eats applesauce sandwiches.
Right. I was confused because then he makes a Michael Jackson joke.
Right.
And they like go into town and like
Temptation of Christ
yeah.
joke.
I was like, what is the tone?
I think they were trying to make it like Willy Wonka, but the difference between you know how the
but
old...
Willy Wonka is like separate. Like the Willy Wonka character is separate from the outside world.
Right. There's a world that they like.
So I was so puzzled by that.
Yeah.
It really bounced for me back and forth between moments of me being like, what the fuck, and like, oh, there's something
interesting going
happening
on here. Yeah.
For the first like 15 minutes, I thought this was going to be a straight up musical.
The Happy Worker song.
Tori Amos?
Is that Tori? Oh,
That was Tori Amos that did that.
We'll talk about the MTV bit. The MTV bit.
Oh my god.
It doesn't make any fucking
it does
sense.
not.
And
that was another thing that I was like, what is the world here?
Yeah.
Because MTV exists.
Right. But also MTV exists, but you can just take a little like stick-on name tag and just put it on somebody's like display screen of security footage.
Yeah.
And he's immediately like, oh,
a music
now
video.
we're watching MTV, which you are dressed as right now.
Mm-hmm.
So my fit, this shirt is inspired by the scene where they're, I guess you would say, workshopping the MTV idea.
It does look like a music video from the 80s would probably look. But
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was just because they liked that music and they liked Talking Heads and...
There were so many
Oingo
scenes in this
Boingo.
movie that I was like, we could have just done without this. It's 2 hours and I felt every minute of it.
Yes, no, absolutely. I had to take a break in between and I was like...
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like running a fucking marathon.
It really is.
It's one thing if you make a movie and it's slow and deliberate and it's like clear where it's going, but this is like slow and ambling and it's never clear where it's going.
No,
You're not really even sure who you're supposed to like root for. It just feels like a bunch of vignettes, and there's some vignettes where I'm like, oh, I can understand how this took 10 years to make. And then there's some vignettes like the MTV thing or like the battle at the end where I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
The battle is so dumb, and it honestly feels like there's no stakes because there's no characters in it. It's literally just robots fighting robots.
Yeah, and they're like this big.
Yeah, fucking spoiler alert, I guess. Joan Cusack's character is a robot the whole movie, and you find out in the last like 10 minutes.
You can't do a twist in a movie with no stakes.
She doesn't die.
Yeah,
and
she comes back and she's like loopy, basically.
Which she was already.
They're all loopy. The whole fucking movie's loopy.
She gets her head blown off by this sea swine.
Yeah.
And Robin Wright is like, ah! And then Robin Williams is like, oh no, it's okay, she's a robot. My dad built her for me when my mom died. The general is like, I don't know if I like him as a villain or not, because he just has that one motive, and he's not, like, that interesting.
There's times when I think he's really effective and really like I said, I think that Washington Boys scene, I'm like, oh shit, he's chewing scenery, he's really giving it, and he's got a lot to work with. Yeah. And then there's other times when he's just, like, driving around in a dune buggy in, like, camo. That looks like Lego camo, basically.
I was also confused by... LL Cool J's character, his motivation, he's the general's son.
Right.
And at the beginning of the movie, he's like this hard war guy who's like, I'm all about the war, I'm gonna beef up the security around this place. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, somebody says, something, your mom, and he's completely like, I'm gonna help you take this bitch down.
That's part of it, and then also, they introduce... There's a bunch of banging ladies in this fucking movie. They introduce like 3/4 into the movie that he has a wife that's like a nurse.
Okay, that scene did not make a lick of sense.
Right, because it comes out of nowhere, and then his wife is like, I fucked your dad, I think, and so
yes.
He's like, what? Unacceptable, and then he totally turns face. This movie is like a bad dream where you're a toddler in daycare again.
Yeah.
And you can't leave for years and years and years.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I've said this, like, I say this repeatedly on my channel, but there's movies that, like, Robin's impressions and his manicness and his bits, like, work perfectly.
Like Doubtfire.
Like, yeah, like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. This is one where he's clearly improving, not too much where it ruins the movie, but just like a little too much.
It took me out of the world a couple of times, but I also kept getting taken out of the world because I was just like,
well, of course you're taken out of the world. Right, yeah, it's like,
what is it?
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
And then the fucking ending is like, we go back to the Christmas ballet.
Yeah.
And then all the characters are just in a field, and LL Cool J is like, bye, and they're all like, bye, and it's over.
Yeah. Who knows, right? It's really strange to set up, okay, you're in this rolling field, and you're gonna have this epic battle at the end, but it doesn't take place outside. Maybe that's just me, like, living in the post-Lord of the Rings world, and that's just my picture or whatever, but it's really a bummer to have the final battle be so small scale. I think that they were picturing the toys being enormous, or there being so many that it like basically fills up the room and you can't step anywhere, but they just didn't have the production design to do it, I guess. Some really bad slow-mo in it.
Yeah. Oh my god, why was it shot like that? My HBO has been lagging on my laptop, so I kept like shaking my mouse. And what is going on?
No, that's just how it was meant to be seen.
This movie gets a hearty shrug from me.
Exactly.
That's what I'm gonna have to say. I kind of want to play the Toys video game now and see how much it's like.
I just feel like it'd work better as a video game.
I know.
There's like Mario logic to the whole world.
Who are you in the video game?
I bet you're like Robin Williams just like jumping around the factory and doesn't that sound better? You're like, you know that hallway that goes like, ooh.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be fun to like get chased through or something? I like
Maybe
that
this should have been a video game. Barry Levinson got a Razzie nom for Worst Director for this.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't win, but he was nominated for Worst Director. It was the only Razzie nom it got. It also got Oscar nominations for Art Design and Costume Direction.
It definitely should have.
It lost both of those as well. The reviews of it were generally mixed to negative.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone gave it 0 stars and called it gimmicky, obvious, and a pious bore.
Huh.
I don't think I would give it 0. I think like out of 4 I would maybe give it 2.
You could call this movie a lot of things, but I don't think I'd call it obvious. There's like there's like a lot going on. It feels obvious, and like if you think it's a kid's movie, then you watch it and you go like, it's sanctimonious, but there's too many like weird dark moments and like too many like social commentary moments that I think that.
But I wouldn't call it a family film either. I guess it's a film that like you could technically show to anyone.
I think they should have just gone hard R. Made it look like
that. I thought it was R-rated, honestly. Like, show me Robin Wright's boobies.
Exactly!
At least.
You know, she was down to show, I think she was like already in the place in her career where she was showing her titties.
I'm sure she was. I don't know, show me Joan Cusack's robot boob.
Let fucking Robin Williams, even if he's like supposed to be too childlike to take over, but I feel like this kind of works. Like, let him say fuck, let him be like, let him be a degenerate in some way.
Audience consensus was generally like, huh?
Right, which is our consensus too, for sure.
And a lot of people were like, I feel like this movie was trying to say something, and there's obviously something here, and it's just kind of a shame that it's as muddled as it is.
Well, before it
Which
came
Barry
out,
Levinson has said as well.
The screenplay was like passed around Hollywood.
And
people were like, this is one of the best unproduced screenplays of all time. What happened, man?
What happened?
What was in that screenplay?
It's not a bad concept, it's not a bad idea, it's not even a bad screenplay.
Yeah.
It's not even a bad. I guess it just...
Imagine reading the word sea swine and not immediately being like, that's gonna be stupid. They don't make movies like this anymore.
No.
So I think it's... Do you recommend to your audience if they should watch it or not?
I would say, yeah, check it out. It's one of those things that it has to be seen to be believed.
Yeah,
It's one of those also, when you watch the opening credits and you see the same name come up as director, writer, producer, you get a little concerned. If you do want to watch Toys, I hope you have HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because it's streaming on HBO Max, Hulu and Prime also if you have HBO Max. I mean, it's worth checking out. It's if you have 2 hours that you don't mind being upset to not get back, I guess.
If you're like hungover, I feel like this would be a good hangover movie.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's got enough drama going on.
Sure.
That you can stay invested in it. But it's really light. You don't have to be following all that hard. It's pretty much just nonsense at any given time. And there's parts of it that are funny enough to like keep you.
Next week, I will be getting into literally the pinnacle of Robin Williams' career, if you hadn't already guessed from the subtlety on my mug. Mrs. Doubtfire. Probably my favorite Robin Williams movie so far, personally. So, quite excited about that.
I'm glad to be here for the terrible one.
right before. Alright, well, I will see you guys next time. Play with your fucking toys, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
What do you even say?
You say, eat yourself an applesauce sandwich.